Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's house. Today we got a special show because I just flew in from Switzerland and man, my arms are tired. But you never heard that joke before? Well, today we're going to be talking about my Switzerland trip, and of course, we are going to be doing Machine Head by Deep Purple because there's a huge connection between Switzerland and Smoke on the Water, and it's going to be an awesome album. So, as you can hear, it's playing right there. Smoke on the Water, the most identifiable guitar riff of all time. So let's get right into it. I'll show you my slideshow. Let's make believe it's like 1972. I remember your parents would go away on vacation and they come home and your aunts and uncles and friends would come over and you watch a stupid slideshow with that machine, you know, click, click, and here's Uncle Ted by the side of the house, click, click, here's Uncle Ted on the front of the house, but you can still see the side of the house. And imagine how horrible it must have been for everyone coming over to watch the slideshow. Well, this is going to be much better than that. Well, I hope anyway. So, yeah, I had to go to Switzerland on a business trip, and normally I don't like to fly, but, you know, I had no choice. I was excited, so I said, all right, I'm going to go, no problems. And, you know, I've never been to Europe before. I'm becoming a very worldly person in my old age. I'm a world traveler now. I've had Indian food. I'm really experiencing life now. So, and it's not like I'm afraid to fly. It's just, it's very uncomfortable. Unless you're flying first class, most planes were built for 5 feet and under tall people or children. And being over 6 feet, it's extremely uncomfortable. But I was going with the flow, and I figured, all right, you know, and when they were booking the trip for me, they asked me, where do you want to sit? I was like, whatever, you know, what do I care? Sit anywhere. And then, so I get on the plane, and I got a window seat, and I was like, this kind of sucks. And the chair in front of me is like this close. I got like no room at all. But I was like, all right, maybe no one will sit next to me or someone nice, whatever. It'll be a nice flight. It's only 7 hours going. So I'm sitting there watching, and then this beautiful Swiss girl comes walking down the aisle right towards me. So I was like, all right, this might not be so bad. And, you know, she's got her hair in braids, and she's got lederhosen on. She's like a girl right out of the Ricola commercial. So anyway, she sits down next to me, and I was like, all right, it's going to be good. And then, like, within 30 seconds, the guy behind us says, oh, excuse me, are you sure that's your seat? So they look at their tickets, and it turns out she was in the wrong seat. So she gets up, sits in front of me, and this big fat jerk comes and sits down next to me, and we're all jammed shoulder to shoulder up there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. There's no way I can go 7 hours cramped up like this. But he turns out he was a nice guy, and he realized it was ridiculous too. So it turns out there was an open seat, wasn't a full flight, so he moved, and I had the row to myself. And you know, it was a nighttime flight, so everyone they turn off the lights, you have dinner, you watch some movies, read, do whatever you want, and then fall asleep. But there was one thing about this flight. There was this weird couple that I was observing. And it was like an older guy with a younger girl, and when it came time for sleeping, I noticed that they were standing up and looking around the plane, and he kept walking up and down the aisles, and what it turned out to be was that she wanted to sleep, and she didn't want him bothering her in the seat next to her. So she said, you go find another seat, I'm sleeping here. And she took both seats and went to sleep. So this idiot's walking around looking for a free seat somewhere. So he came and he sat down right in front of me next to the Swiss girl. So his stupid wife is sleeping comfortably. Now he's bothering this poor girl. So I thought about saying something, but I figured I'm on a business trip. I don't want to create an international incident by choking this guy out and cursing his wife. So I let it go. That's my new policy for 2015 anyway. Let it go. So, all right. So then, you know, Switzerland is such a beautiful country. It's very small. It's about the size of New Jersey. I pretty much toured the whole country in 1 week. So I came into Zurich. I took a train to Biel. I stayed there. Then we drove down to Montreux, and I spent 4 days there. And Montreux is just the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life, and it's amazing. And that is why we picked Machine Head, of course, because it was actually recorded there. So we'll get to that in a second. But everybody was so nice to me. It's just like when I'm being led around the office, everyone's like, "Oh, bonjour, bonjour." I felt like Belle in the beginning of Beauty and the Beast. Everybody's like, "Oh, bonjour, bonjour." So and I learned to speak French. I can say bonjour now and au revoir. So it was a good trip. And then when I got to my hotel, it was just so beautiful. It was right on the water, and we're gonna hold on a second. I gotta put another song on. Smoke on the Water is already over, so we'll put that off for a minute. But yeah, my hotel was right on Lake Geneva in Montreux, and it was just so beautiful. And I had a routine that every morning I would come down into the lobby, and I have my cafe. They call it cafe. You can't just get regular American coffee. I guess you could, but cafe is kind of like latte or cappuccino stuff. But it's really good. And I sat there in the lobby looking at this amazing view, and then the office was right across the street. So then I take a 1-minute walk across to the office, and I go in there, and then we'd have more cafe and some pastries, croissants, and then we worked for a while, and then they took me out to lunch every day, and these great restaurants, and the food was awesome. And we actually had fondue one day, and Italian, and actually had one of the best cheeseburgers I ever had at Funky Claude's Jazz Cafe. And Funky Claude's going to come into play in a few minutes here, so remember that name. So, and then after that, it's winter time, so everything's pretty much closed up by 7 o'clock. So I would just walk along. They have a promenade right there by the lake, and you could walk along, go see the Freddie Mercury statue, go see the Queen Museum, the casino, and all that kind of stuff. So it was just a great trip, beautiful trip. So now we're going to talk about the album Machine Head by Deep Purple. Now, everybody knows the song Smoke on the Water, right? But does everybody know what it means, what it's about, and all that kind of stuff? Well, the lyrics tell you right off the bat what it's about. And it's exactly that. They went to Montreux for tax purposes, because if you record out of England, you don't have to pay taxes on the album. So they went to Montreux because they were friends with Claude Nobbs, a.k.a. Funky Claude, the guy who started the Montreux Jazz Festival, which is the biggest jazz festival in the world. It's not even just jazz, man. All artists, they have it every July there. So I'd love to go back for that. But so anyway, they were going to record at a place called the Casino, which was an actual casino, and they had every big act played there when they were on tour and through Switzerland. And so Deep Purple was going to record their new album there. And it was wintertime, so they were shutting down, and there was one concert left. It was Frank Zappa. So Frank Zappa and the Mothers were playing there, and then some stupid with a flare gun set it off during the concert. The place burnt to the ground, and that was the end of that. So they were going to record with the Rolling Stones mobile truck, and they had no place to record now. So they ended up, and part of the song here, it says Funky Claude was running in and out, pulling kids out the ground. So Funky Claude, he saved kids' lives during this too. And then so then they ended up at the Grand Hotel, which is a place down the block. And no matter what we get out of this, I'll know we'll never forget Smoke on the Water, Fire in the Sky. Well, what they got out of it was the most amazing song that everybody knows. It's up there with Stairway to Heaven, one of the greatest songs of all time. The first song anyone ever learns on their guitar is this. They learn Smoke on the Water, Satisfaction, Sunshine of Your Love, Paranoid, all those songs. So it turned out really well for them, I gotta say. They recorded this album at the Grand Hotel using the Rolling Stones mobile recording truck. And they wrote and recorded this in 3 weeks in December, and it came out in March. And, it just has so many good songs on it. It has Highway Star. Everybody knows Highway Star, Smoke on the Water, Space Truckin', Never Before. And they have all this stuff in here. The picture of Claude Nobbs right over there. There he is, right after the fire. And they have pictures of the fire. And, let's see if we can smell any of the fire in here. Oh, that's a really good one. Oh, this album, I want to thank my friend Linda Lago for this album. She gave me a whole bunch of albums, including this one. So, oh, by the way, today is one of those 5-minute express shows. Give me 5 minutes and I'll give you the truth. So even if it's longer than 5 minutes, I'm only going to tell you the truth for 5 minutes. The rest of the time, I'm probably lying about things anyway. So it works out. So let's listen to some more Smoke on the Water. I love that song. So, what else I want to talk about here? That... Oh, let's talk about the band for a minute. So, Deep Purple, amazing band. They had Richie Blackmore on guitar, John Lord on keyboards, the greatest heavy metal keyboardist of all time, because there probably is not another one that anyone can name. And then you had Ian Pace on drums, Ian Gillan on vocals, and Roger Glover on bass. And Ian Gillan was the first one to hit that high screeching part, and the whole band is so good. And this album, when it came out, it was well received, but it wasn't until their live album Made in Japan came out as like kind of a companion piece, and that skyrocketed this album. So it all worked out well, and they came away with it with one of the greatest songs of all time and an awesome album by Machine Head. So that's pretty much it for that, and I'm gonna make a little slideshow because the reason why Freddie Mercury is so involved in Montreux is that he lived there for many years. Queen recorded there. There was Mountain Studios that they recorded at. They ended up buying it, so that's why they have a statue for him there. And you can see my picture about it. And that was about it. I have to say, I enjoyed my time in Switzerland very much. Montreux is the most beautiful place ever. If you get a chance to go, I'd love to go back to Europe. I'd love to go all over Europe now. And, I had a very nice time with my new friends out there, Samuel and Benjamin and Cornelia and Jan and all of them, except, some of the differences. People are kind of the same, and everybody was so nice to me. We had a good time there. But it was like, they all speak English. The first language is French, but they end up speaking English. And, it's not perfect English, but it's much better than I can speak French. And the one funny thing, because they all love American TV, so we were talking about Walking Dead, then we were talking about Sons of Anarchy and motorcycles, and I was telling them I have a Harley, and the guy Sam said to me, "You have a head of someone that would ride a motorcycle." And I guess what he meant to say was, "You look like someone that would ride a motorcycle, a Harley." So it's little things like that. One thing I noticed that dogs are allowed everywhere you go. They have alcohol everywhere you go, and they have dogs wherever you go. And did you ever notice that dogs are always the same? Whether you're in the United States or in China or France or Switzerland, dogs pretty much act the same. So, something you might think about. All right, well, that's way over time on this show, too. I just, when I got a rush like this, I start blabbering. So, let me just make sure there's nothing else I want to talk about. Oh, on my last day, I went to Geneva, and I found a record store there, and it's called Sounds Discs in Geneva, and you got to see. I'll just show you one album that I got. Look at this. It's a German Rolling Stones album. Isn't that awesome? Yes. It's the small things, people. Alright, that's it. Way over time. So, remember, give me 5 minutes, I will give you the truth. The rest of the time, I'll probably be lying. So, I will see you next week. Oh, come out. I decided I'm going to now promote my band, The DeSilvas, also. So, this is the year of promotions, 2015. So, I sent a lot of invites out to you people on Facebook to like it. So if you see that, go out and like the DeSilvas. Come out on February 25th, February 21st, and check them out. You won't be disappointed. We are pretty great. So that's about it. See you guys next week.